All right, today on set we have Anthony, and he's with Skyline Risk Management. One of the things I learned about through talking to him was about construction and the need for insurance about that. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Good. We talked at length on the phone the other night, and we were talking about your company and what you specialize in. And you were telling me you do many, many things, but one of the people that need insurance the most are construction people. Why is that?
Well, Skyline Risk Management's been around for 3 years, and like you said, we have assets. We can do everything, a little of everything, but our main focus is on construction and development. About 80% of our book of business is construction and development, and the reason why we're focusing on that is there's such a huge need and demand for the products associated with construction and development.
Well, there's a lot of injury that can happen in construction.
Correct.
And so you are looking at the aspects from the person, the general contractor, the
Yes.
builders?
Yes,
Okay.
we're looking at it from our client base, our general contractors, subcontractors, and the actual developers who buy the property and hire the contractors and the subcontractors to put the properties up. And we're a smaller outfit, but the costs associated with insurance today, especially in the 5 boroughs, are just astronomical. It could cost up to 10% of a construction job site could go towards insurance.
Okay. So before somebody begins to even stick that shovel in the ground, they should be insured.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And we'll sit down with our clients and make sure that they're properly covered with general liability, the workers' compensation, the disability that are all required by law. And then there's other ancillary products like builder's risk and environmental, or otherwise known as pollution liability.
Yeah, what is pollution liability? What is that? What are you guarding against?
Pollution liability, I'll use the example, is if you hire someone to do an asbestos abatement removal job, you need to have it covers you specifically for that pollution aspect of the job.
Okay.
Because on your standard general liability policy, it's excluded. So you need to get it just for the job, for the removal of the asbestos, or there are times when the actual land is contaminated. In order for the earth to be moved, they need to have an environmental policy to cover that contaminated soil.
It's like having a jewelry rider on your home insurance policy.
Correct.
Right? Because it doesn't, your home insurance policy might not cover your jewelry. You've got to get it appraised. You've got to get that additional assurance for that particular piece.
Yes.
Right? So this is very similar.
Yes.
So you want to have an environmental, would you do like a risk analysis ahead of time? Do you like go in with somebody to say, hey, look, these are the potential things that you might need? Or does the construction person tell you, we're going to be digging this up, we're going to need this?
It could be both.
Okay.
When we meet with a potential client, we'll sit down and do a complete review of their needs, what they currently have, what they should have, and then we sit down with them and go through a complete analysis of the coverages that are required. There are times also when a contractor is hired by a developer that it's in their contract that they must have environmental coverage, builder's risk coverage, or so forth. So it goes both ways.
Now, if somebody's already being insured by somebody else, but you can look at their coverages and sometimes save them money on their premiums, do you evaluate
Yes.
coverages sometimes?
Yes,
Okay.
we do that all the time. It's one of the things, again, being a smaller operation, we have our own lawyers and our own site safety people where we'll sit down and review their coverages to ensure that they're covered correctly. Because New York is the only state that is what's called the Scaffolding Law.
Okay.
That we're the only one in the entire union that has it where if an employee was to get hurt, they can sue the general contractor and the developer. And it's not a matter of if they're going to win, it's a matter of how much. There's absolute
100%
liability.
liability
It's
on their
absolute liability.
cause. Okay.
So we need to make sure that our clients have the proper coverages, and then in lieu, their subcontractors have the proper coverages, because what needs to be done is what's called subrogation, where me as the general contractor gets brought into the lawsuit. I have a contract with you as the subcontractor holding me and our client harmless. I need to be able to subrogate it down to your general liability policy to get covered. And if there's any gaps within the actual contract or that subcontractor's policy, the general contractor is on the hook.
You also specialize for construction people. You were explaining it to me too, is the insurance as they're building. So let's say there's $1 million property going up, right? And what is that called? What is that you do for them?
That's called the builder's risk policy.
Okay.
So say it cost $1 million to put the building up, and as you're going through the phases of putting the property up, something occurred that caused damage and the insurance policy gets called in. You're already $500,000 into the job, you would get reimbursed for that $500,000 if it was a covered peril. If what caused the damage was covered under your insurance policy, you would get reimbursed for the money that you've put into the building to restart the project again.
And what size of contractor do you work with? Do you work with, a smaller company that's mom and pop, or do you need to have at least 10? Like, what's the threshold for you of people that you can help the best?
Our contractors range from a gross sales perspective on the low end of about $5 million a year.
Okay.
To our largest contractors doing over $200 million a year.
Wow. And so you're sitting there crunching numbers and helping them figure out exactly what they need.
Correct.
What do you like best about what you do?
We get to meet a lot of very interesting people every day.
You do?
Very interesting people, a lot of unique situations, a lot of fires that need to be put out in order to make sure that our clients are covered correctly.
Do you ever drive by a building that you helped insure and then be like, oh, we did that one, we did this one,
Oh,
like
yes.
a little tour of the properties?
Yeah, all the time, all the time.
Yeah, it's got to be a sense of pride, I think, from the moment something starts a project until completion for you to know that you had an important part in that.
Oh yeah, it is. And when people ask me what do I do for a living, that I'm an insurance broker, they look at me weird, that I tell them I enjoy it.
Right.
Because they think that we just sell car insurance and you're done. But when we try to explain to them the intricacies of what goes on and the real value of what it means to have the proper coverages, there's a sense of satisfaction for sure.
And there's one other thing that you told me that you were unique. You have your own safety person that goes out.
Yes, what we do, because right now there's something like 34,000 job sites going on in the 5 boroughs. There's only 500 inspectors.
Wow.
So in order to help our clients keep their costs down, we need to help them minimize any potential issues, accidents waiting to happen. So we would send out our own safety manager to go inspect their jobs and come back with a detailed report as to if their people are running their jobs correctly or not. Because a lot of times also, these general contractors, they have multiple jobs going on at one time. They're always running back and forth between jobs. Something can fall in between the cracks. So it's our job to make sure that those cracks are full. Literally filled, so no one falls.
There you
go. By them minimizing their potential accidents, their rates hopefully would continue to drop accordingly.
Excellent. So nice to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
One of the things that I enjoy so much is, I was talking to you, is that I learned so much, like by having different guests on, and I can find out like how you can help other people, and by telling your story, now there's probably a construction thing that's going to be safer, which might end up in results of somebody not getting hurt. So it's always a win. It's always like moving it forward. So
we think so.
Yeah, so it's Skyline Risk
Management.
Management. Excellent. Anthony, thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me.
All right, nice to have you. Come back again, maybe? Perhaps?
Maybe.
All right, maybe. Stay tuned for more on Live It Up.